Listen to the presentation. Long Vu Yin LM, not believe to ask the opposite really, SAO, and ponder after meeting the great heavens. I knew there was a world more powerful than dance. When I heard that there was hope, I told the photographer. Let's hurry over there. Change the scene a moment later. 2 people build for 2 people. I have 2 gravestones and 2 gravestones. Long Yu Yin kneels down. They clasp their hands and worship the souls of the 2 of them. Standing next to Long Vu Yin comforting. He said, their souls have been absorbed into the glass. The photographer is thinking about it now. In his soul, there is also the soul of the Buddha. I don't know when I can bring them back. Your power is still not enough. Long Vu Yin is now moved by the heart of the photographer. I can't hold my emotions. Cry, say thank you. Then I hugged him. She was suddenly hugged and almost fell over. Fortunately, he survived. Then understand the situation. Long Yu Yin also comforted you. The 2 of them hugged each other. In this majestic mountain setting, have you finished speaking after a while? I'm about to be forced to breathe. She was startled to hear that she realized her actions. Then let go of the photographer. Ross shyly launched ahead. Let the photographer stand alone here. The stupid photographer, Ra, for a while called Theo this. Miss, you're running so fast, I can't catch you. Maybe you don't know. Your current level is much higher than mine. Long Yu sounds startled to hear. Turn around and wait for the photographer. The photographer is also quick to launch. Long said, let's go to the temple. The 2 of them had just arrived where the voice came in. The photographer and Dragon Yu Yin have returned alive. Be careful that Li's men hear you. Did you hear that? At the same time as the moon, she went on to practice divination. The 8 hands decided not to stop speaking. Then pull your hands together and say, it's almost time. Should I see him again or not? That's the question. But in the end, she decided to stop. Stop seeing you, not without meeting. She put it down. Then say, a stranger suddenly enters his world. Become your true disciple. It makes it difficult for others to adapt. But what happened in my previous life was so true. Name in front of you. You must immediately reach the sky. The Lord will soon find you. If we don't go, it is also difficult to escape the fate of death. Pap Pap, Trach, 6 Adventure. If I knew you each had a destiny, I'll give you a tip. See it as a little help. Finally for you. As if the moon disappeared. Moved a few days later. At a particular institute of photography. 6 adventurers are glaring out, looking at the photographer. Ask the photographer what you're doing. Photographer laid out a pile of herbs of all kinds. Full bottle with jar. He laughed, haha, I want to practice knitting. What do you think about knitting? Then one by one, luggage, etc. And even Long Wyan was amazed to look at the photographer. The photographer didn't answer and just sat there and did it. He's crocheting something. Then I held up a god-forsaken thing. Identical mini watermelon. And then there's a magnet. And then he used a stick. Clean a big way on that god fruit. And then painstakingly pull out a thread. The meat is put in a small bottle. But he held up. 6 adventure closer. Look at the photographer. There's no water in this bottle. He told everyone, you guys shake this bottle first. Then distribute evenly to another 100 vases. Then take out the small bottles. Keep dividing it evenly into 100 bottles. Must be diluted 1,000 times. 6 curious adventurers asked what kind of spiritual medicine this is, even if it's 1,000 times more diluted. Just being afraid doesn't work. Try to agree, that's right. This is 1,000 times thinner. And there's a little bit of meat. The photographer replied, "You have never met a god of evil. I don't know how powerful it is. That's why I said that." Luggage just spoke up. "I really haven't heard of it before." Then the manager asked what treasure it was. "It's 1,000 times thinner, and it works." The photographer explained, "This god-forsaken, just afraid to use the 4 magic words Lin Dan. There's no way to imagine either. I just used the Korean magnet. Choose a little like that. If a dancer eats all the dancers in." His eyes exploded and he died. "Because you can't take this medicine." You're all amazed when you hear that. Luggage is so bad. It's not about scaring people. The photographer says, "Have we ever lied?" This is the God of Heaven's kingdom. To store its medicinal power. It's not a weapons-grade fake. Can imagine. Even if diluted 1,000 times. We drank a drop. They also have to explode and die. Luggage is curious. "So how are you going to prepare?" "The devil doesn't hide from me. After preparing for a drug overdose, I stumbled 1,000 times, used 10 types of tricks, soothe its medicinal properties, and then it's made into knitting medicine. Until then, this medicine has been made. It's going to be amazing." Luggage asked again, "I don't know this medicine. Can reach the peak of the wind or not?" The photographer replied, "Don't talk about the wind. Even if you suddenly come to Long Dao, there's absolutely no problem. They're amazing." Screaming long scenes. Why did she say breakthrough to long directing scene? Make SAO simple again. So at this moment Long Yu Yin came up with an idea. If it was so we can help us break through to the top. Or not in the world. We must immediately choose our successor. If you can break through to the top of Long Tao. Absolutely sure. Even the owner can't stop me. Luggage and so on thought Long Tao peak scenery. How did Long Wu Yin finally practice? UVI, the 6th generation is far beyond what we can reach. To hear Long Yin's request. The photographer said he wanted to break through to the top of Long Tao. 1 tablet may not be enough, but 2 is absolutely enough. Knit this medicine, enough to make your flesh break. But absorbing a knitting pill, you have to spend at least 3 days. I was stunned 3 days later. She was in shock and gaping for 3 days. A normal person from heaven moved the cultivation scene to the long way. At least some 15 crochet. This is too unnatural. The photographer explained further. These are the fake gods in their eyes. The Dragon Ball is nothing more than a swordworm. I'm afraid it's worth more than the gods. The escape time was over 10 days later. The regent's voice echoed. The next step is to wait for me to train. Very fast. The result of the experiment was 500 pieces. He is now content to think. That's great. There are these knits. It's like a tiger growing wings. I have to thank God. Think about it and say, send someone to kill them a little. The subordinates obeyed orders. And then it's flying away. Over here, 6 adventurers are staring back and forth at Linda. The photographer has just finished practicing. He said this medicine. That's the magic in your words. The photographer did not answer and tell 6 people you can try it once. The staff and luggage are also there. Look at the wicker spirits. 6 adventure is a little hesitant. Finally, definitely put the wicker in your mouth. And swallow down. Immediately, in the belly of 6 adventurers burst into intense breathing. His whole body was on fire. The faces of the 6 winds were as red as the noonday sun. Then 2 ears puffed out 2 puffs of smoke like a locomotive. It's hard to breathe out one. The sound is too strong. That fire directly burst into his high soul. 6 Adventure felt. His spirit has shown signs of cracking. He was worried that High's soul was about to be destroyed. It's not. I have lost my life, and what does this VI do? Then the cracks in his high soul. Crack to out more. After a while, restore. And then it just keeps cracking, and so on. He screamed every sound of pain. He eventually burned his whole body. Everything around him seemed to shake with him. My husband and I saw the scene before. Without fail to amaze you, they noticed that the 6 winds had changed dramatically. Luggage van exclaims 9 fate has changed. I can't help but say the worst. 2 are still in promotion. A while after evolution. 6 people sitting in a breathing room. The 6th stage of the 6th adventure is now up to the sky. 5 insects try to watch and swallow saliva. My luggage is sweating. Then he said, give me a quick shot. Remixing knitting song. Distribute to everyone, then go into the Thousand Lies Sun. They also bring medicine. There are a lot of false gods. After people get the knitting, he also began to practice. Why did we do that? There's not a wrong place. The name H Nguyen Kier Ha'ating. He's not right. Before us before. What do we love to join Min for? Not even the power of love. Moreover, there are relatively favorable conditions. Currently, SAO, you look at love. Important members do not know where to go. Maybe the first turtle escaped. What are we doing here? The guy looks sad. But that we're leaving may not count. There are more than 200 brothers named H Ni. Haha, people go where the high water flows with the low. I can see that you can't do anything. Trying to talk is not bad. We've brought a few more brothers. Can strengthen hang negotiation satisfactory conditions. If it's just the 2 of us. Always try to pay attention to us. The Kier worried. The power of the constant, not the whole thing. They've all been tried and bribed. So let's go back and talk about this. You're both stupid. After a while, he said that the wind, the conditions he gave to the trader, also very generous. Then he said, let's go. You'll be laughed at all day. The Kier also agrees. Let's go. Then the 2 of them hurriedly followed their lovers. Photographer hiding in the bush. Listen to all their stories. Not until they're all gone. He thought more than 200 people had left. More than 1,000 people left. Although a lot of people left. But there's still a lot of people left. Through this shaking. Trust those who stay can observe a bit. 6 adventure. They and the celestial tribe use knitting medicine. They're all practicing this time. Just or bring love min handle. Eliminating the sacrifice fosters loyalty. Of course, we can't let others know. We're moving now at the temple. The wind is quiet. At a Kier restaurant, 2 guys are talking. It's just like the neighbors have a lot to say around this time. Li Liu Fong is very active. I haven't seen him in business before. People's power now. Immediately will replace the host of the inflammatory merchant world. Long Thing Min and the North Inflammatory Map SAO. The other guy said they were fighting for the temporary president. On the contrary, there is no big movement. Even though SAO ended up being much bigger than the bending force. He sighed for a breath, as if it was his house. The 2 older men wanted to hide behind. Dedicated to cultivation, about secular things. Of course, I don't want to manage. The bald man took a bite and said, the dance god is already blind. Next scene in the temple. That AI's voice boomed. Where's the photographer? I heard you ask who. Ra is the sky. The gods call their students regents. He asked the photographer, you say, you want to compete for the position of Lord of Heaven. The photographer confidently replied yes. Now I love God step by step. If you let Long Thien Min take over, I'm afraid that God will be in even greater danger. That's why I want to stand out. Competition for the position of Vu Then Tong. I can hear the wind full of energy. That's what it says. Immediately covered. If you accept this, you basically have no victory. Your body in the spirit of God is too shallow. There are even a lot of Wu Shen disciples. I don't know who you are. Why do you compete for the boss position? Even though you are my disciple, I am also willing to support you. But the dance god is so big. Just supporting them is not enough. I know your heart has big plans. But to take control of the Wu god, it's an illusion. The photographer confirmed. If you let me hold you, the Lord of Heaven will welcome you. Completely new. Then he goes or says, I just want to know, do you still want to support me or not? The angel heard the photographer's question, but ponder for a while. Slowly lower yourself to the ground. Then confided in Li that, I can't fully support you. The other gods were afraid that it would be impossible. The more determined the photographer was, I just need the Lord to support me. We will be sure of success. The angel asked again, and then sighed and went on to say the word, quality. The more I value you. You compared to Long Thien Min is much stronger. But the North Inflammation Baby Kier also NDTO. The North is the son of the owner. Unfortunately, he was not determined to win. If you can prove it, you really are capable to bring the dancing gods to glory. I hope to compete with Long Thien Min. The angel just finished. The photographer thought, in his previous life, he was killed. I don't know why he died suddenly. If the previous life, the North cannot defeat Long Thien Min. This world allows him to be a master. It's not a good thing to be afraid. When I think about it, the photographer puts his hands in his shirt. A little later, took out a vase and said, I will prove myself to the Lord. We have such power, but I still ask for your support. And then he took a crochet out of that vase. Give it to the angel and say, this is my medicine because of the practice of Ra. Take this pill. I trust the Lord will understand my thoughts. I can help you achieve greatness. It didn't happen that year. The angel god agreed to say knitting medicine. As for the god of dance, normal pharmacy net, maybe eating it doesn't work. And then the angel grabbed the Kier spirit net. Take a look. He felt the energy and ate it. Lin knit into the body of the angel. Immediately brought into play the body of the angel. Then there's a burst of energy on the body of the angel. His 2 VI suddenly broke through. He thought to himself, all of my practice VI stopped at the martial arts school 3. Stagnation of the year. Eat this medicine today. Then immediately break through to the 4 insects. They are also getting promoted. Martial artist wants to be promoted. Did not rely solely on cultivation. It can be a reality. I live to this age. It is becoming more and more intractable. But now it's just a crochet. They can directly break through. What is this medicine? The power of medicine is so terrible. Martial arts is the basis of the gods. Knitting medicine can make martial arts promoted. A small piece of medicine. The medicine is so terrible. If you eat one of your herbs, I accept your love the most. I will help you with all of this. The teacher said too much, and the disciple had something good. Honoring the master is the right thing to do. God's angels are absolutely worth believing in. Maybe asking him for help is the right thing to do. The angel thought, the power of this medicine, after helping me break through martial arts. There's also a lot of pharmacological residue in his soul. Maybe I need a few months. It can be completely digested at that time. Afraid that I can directly break through to martial arts 6 strains. It's a miracle. If there's 5 or 6 of these, it will make the gods welcome to a brand new glory. This medicine is so strong, it must be extremely valuable. It's a bit too much to ask. He finished thinking about it for an hour. Then the photographer gave the bottle containing lindan to the astronomer god, and said, Master, there are more than 30 knitted pieces in this vase. And Master Shin, help me get to the place of the master and the others. Works a little. The angel was amazed and continued to speak. The power of the hostage is well known. In my head thinking, to bring the position of the Wu goddess apostolic master to Min, you must bring all the power of the Bao, bringing God to a new era of glory. The angel thought for a moment and then said, you know more than 30 of them. Representing something? You really want to give it to God? The photographer frankly replied yes. He continued, you understand the will. Take these precious medicines, dedicated to the Lord of the Rings. As for the god of dance, it is the Lord who trusts the Lord. They will also be willing to take the position of mayor. Give it to you. Over the years, the old master had to start reclining. At that time, I will give up my position as Lord. Over a while longer, the council will arrange the selection of the next president. Do a little preparation first. I don't know, you can be supported by others. With this medicine of yours, I guess in the dance, at least there will be 3 of you. But just beginning to support is not enough. You have to be strong enough to subdue people. If not, when you get the job done, there will be many who will not recognize it, and you won't sit still. I can confidently say this, please rest assured. If we want to compete for the title of mayor, this little thing can't be done. We'll definitely not be able to compete. To listen to the photographer so firmly, the angel also nodded with peace of mind. Time goes by. Finally, it is also the day of the election of the next president. Before the selection of the successor to the president, everyone was fully present. The voice of Long Thien Min's reproach echoed. What are you talking about now? At SAO map, North Inflammation alive. Long Thien Min faced jaw gas killer. A subordinate replied to the young master. We don't know very well. Every time we poison, it's all solved by someone. There was once, we sent an ambush to the North Vietnamese. He was also surrounded by people from the north. Long Thien Min heard that. Let us see if someone knows your plan. So silently obstruct. Later, he told his staff. The North Vietnamese are the children of the 5 gods. There are still a lot of supporters. It's a huge threat. But now 80% of the elders support me. The elders of Long Tao, the top of the wind. 90% also support me. In addition to the 5 who started, at least 3 of them supported me. Master, now prepare to hide. Will not be particularly pro-North inflammatory. I don't believe the North Vietnamese have the victory. If you can't kill him, Then let him go. No matter what, we all want to hold on to the spirit. When you are done talking, let your subordinates down. They obey orders and say yes. Long Thien Min returned to his position. He continues to be pleased. He thinks the Yankees have them helping us. I don't believe you have a way to beat me. Then Long Thien Min took the order Ra. He looked at this black box for a moment. It must be God's stuff. Time passes by. The North Vietnamese are currently with the photographer. He really says what you say. Long Thien Min wants to use all kinds of tricks to harm me. At this point, I am indebted to you. But Long Thien Min, if he wants to kill me, it's not that simple. The photographer responded to this. I think you already know. But this time, I want to ask you to do something for me. Inflammation in the legs with a cup of tea. Then blow the puff for less heat. And ask for help. Fences before and after. I know how to be your brother. Your brother is the one. I want to make God really strong. It has time to find a candidate. To take over the position of chief. I want to ask you to lend me a hand. Help me to ascend to the position of master. The North Vietnamese are listening a little. Then laugh out loud, haha. I said, I owe you a favor. Your request is so ridiculous. Not to mention, I'm one of the candidates. Even if we don't participate in the selection, I am not able to choose you either. Because you've had very little experience in this universe. How long to go to the new God? I want to be the owner of the Lord of Heaven. The position of Vu Then Tong. I will not give it to someone. The background is unknown. The Lord said, I know what you mean. But compared to Long Thien Min, are we a little more qualified? If you are fully qualified, send someone to investigate Long Thien Min. Let's get started from Long Thien Min's initial practice. He soon asked for love. The North Vietnamese are stupid when they hear it. Then ask cautiously. This can't be bad. Is there evidence? The police replied, I have no evidence. I need you to find out, believe it or not. Look at your brother's self. The photographer said more. I hope, if you can't win the Dragon Ball, turn around and support me. The North Vietnamese are crying out in surprise. I am also very serious about the CA. Even though I am an absolute supporter of the law. My luggage also has me. Long Yuyin also agreed with me as well. It makes the North Korean language even more surprising. Stand up and talk, and try to move. Long Yuyin, let's go fly. He turned around and said a sentence with the North Vietnamese. I think your brother will definitely give it. Make the right choice. Then he turned to the door with 3 men. Luggage and Long Yuyin left. There are 6 adventures here right now. As the photographer didn't mention, 6 angry adventurers say SAO without me. The photographer said he couldn't write anymore. They all opened the door and left. The North Inflammation stays, still staring at their backs. A moment later, he thought Long Thien Min. Let's say he's really a man of God. It is absolutely impossible to let Long Thien Min. He became the owner of the temple. A few months have passed by. By obtaining countless medicinal gods and treasures of Min, the sky and the sky are no longer oppressed. On the contrary, has begun to expand at an astonishing rate. The photographer has now reached the level of heaven. Moving scenery. Right now, I'm talking to the photographer. The photographer must immediately. Holding position. It's the galaxy of the old town. The photographer doesn't understand. Ask again what the galaxy is. Try to explain it like that. In the old town, the heir has no power, but as a redundant person. Next first is qualified to accept the position of governor of the galaxy. This galaxy is not big. There are only a few hundred people, but in a way, it's related to the family's work. Once it's stable in the galaxy, then you can manage the whole family. The photographer has a question. How hard is it to hold the road galaxy SAO? She replied, I alone can say that it is difficult to manage. But there's not billions of SAO. Remembering the late lamb, and then I cried out for a few hours. I wonder how your sister is now. Try to be happy. Get your God-given medicine. Let the VI of our billion increase sharply. It's been too long. Dao scene 2. Except to direct us to do the work of the household. Most of the time they practice. He wanted to borrow those drugs. Within a few years to overtake the long scenario. I admire the genius of billions of people. It's amazing. Try to laugh. My son often mentions people. You are the God of God, and we are capable. The ability to reverse that fate. Let me follow your assistant. I have heard 2 words from God. Reverse the fate of infection. I was surprised and laughed. He secretly thought, I am here because of my destiny. Suddenly, in the spirit of Hai the photographer, happened a metamorphosis. He glared up and looked. And then she hugged her head and screamed bitterly, You're confused. You're confused. Ask the photographer what you did. Long dance sound. The luggage and 6 adventurers rushed too. Worried about the name of the photographer? The photographer is unconscious. He was then taken into the room by his accomplices. Long Yu Yin now short tears, long tears. Worry for the photographer. Baggage rushed to ask what happened. Are you practicing ghost fire or not? Then the luggage van hands out to catch the pulse for the photographer. He diagnosed the pulse relatively unscathed.